Bad beef. I discovered an old package of beef in the fridge this morning. It had grayed to a color that reminded me it was dead cow flesh, and the smell emanating through the bag was suspect. I grimaced at the waste. I saw $4 bills held over a flame, burning from the left to the right, across George's face. Somehow it had gotten pushed to the back of a low shelf. When? That was the question I needed to answer. I opened the bag tentatively. I stuck my nose inside and sniffed. It could be a week old, or it could be more. Life is full of big decisions, and though I had only been awake for a few minutes, another one had been thrust upon me. I upended the bag and let the beef drop into my cast iron skillet. I cut it open with a spatula. The inside of the 1-pound lump was bright red still. That's a good sign. I sniffed again. Definitely on the borderline. I cranked the burner on high. The heat will kill anything that's in there, I told myself. Most likely. I felt a twist in my gut, but began attacking the lump with the sharp edge of my metal spatula to break it down. Soon the sound of sizzling fat filled the kitchen, mixing strangely with the music in my earbuds. I know my Spotify playlist is random, but the soundtrack seemed to be foreshadowing something bad. I wondered what movie the score was from. It had a turning to the dark side kind of vibe. The smell of cooked hamburger rose to my nostrils, a cloying mix of rendering fat and the odor of the ongoing death of a bacterial civilization tickled my nose hairs. I gritted my teeth, considering. Definitely more than a week. I added carne asada to the mix, and the smell diminished. Before refrigeration, it would have been normal to add spices to mask the smell of old meat. If they could do it, surely I could. I bent over and pulled a long draft of air through the nose. Maybe a little more spice. I added some artichoke, jalapeno, and Parmesan dip. That stuff could transform ground beef into a culinary circus. A liberal sprinkle of shredded Colby Jack across the top, and my meal was ready. I plated it, cleaned the skillet, and left the pan to dry on the residual heat of the burner. The off smell was mostly gone, or adequately masked. I loaded my fork and hesitated. The bacteria surely couldn't have survived the inferno I just put it through. Las Vegas odds makers marked the chances of my regretting this decision at 3-1. I took a bite. Moved it over my tongue. I could tell the cheese and spice were working hard, but the taste was not optimal. Maybe my chances were more like 35% that everything would be fine. 35 to 40. Somewhere in there. The smart money still said I would be fine. I chewed and considered my life. What a privilege to live in the age of refrigeration where this conundrum of mine was a mistake rather than an unavoidable reality. My gut clinched, and I decided that this meatball, so perfectly browned and seasoned, just wasn't worth the risk. I spit it out and watched my masticated blob splatter across the top of my still piping hot plate. That would be about $5 wasted now. That meant I just torched a Lincoln. The sunk cost fallacy began to work its manipulation on my mind. How could I waste all this? The chunk of chewed beef at the top of my dish dissuaded me. What a privilege to have enough buffer in my monthly budget that I don't have to face the choice of risking this questionable cuisine or going hungry. Around the world today, or compared with all of human history, I am a very rich man to be able to throw away $4 worth of meat. What a blessing. I scraped the risky business into the trash and hoped my wife didn't see it, or I would have to justify my choice to her satisfaction. In the fridge, I found the bag of 80/20 ground beef I had intended to cook for my morning burger steak before I discovered the overaged package behind the eggs. I cranked the dial on the gas stove. Click, 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 click. A puff of blue flame lit the underside of my cast iron. I pressed the beef thin so it would cook through just as a nice scald developed on each side. I lay down a crown of Parmesan flakes and shredded cheese. As I wrote this article, I devoured my delicious burger steak. My stomach filled to the point of contentment, not more. My stomach is doubly thankful that there will be no risk of food poisoning-induced nausea, though I still do wonder if I would have gotten sick. The paths not taken in life, you know what I mean? They could be so much worse. Another blessing. How did I get into this enviable place in life where I have the financial buffer to not eat bad beef just because I am risk-averse? The countless small budgeting decisions my wife and I made over the past 25 years led to my current station. That line reads like a joke because we don't have a high station, but it's still true. All the things we did and didn't do created our current stable circumstances. Everything I do today, financially and otherwise, will create the walls and fences of my financial freedom or slavery tomorrow. While most of the people who read this take the choice to reject bad beef for granted, we would be wise to pause and thank God for our daily bread and good burger steaks, because there are less fortunate people everywhere who would love to be where you are in life.